So I'm Eric Linstead. I'm a computer science professor at Chapman University in the Senior Associate Dean of School Engineering. But more importantly, I am Mayfair class of 1998 and a disciple of Mike. And so what really matters is 32 years ago, as a 12-year-old, I walked into Mike Savee's pre-algebra class as a kid who wasn't really good at very much other than doing school. And I can tell you that I never had any heroes growing up. Didn't care about the Dodgers, didn't care about the Lakers and whatnot. But I really loved watching Three's Company. And as it turns out, if you walk into Mike Savee's classroom as a 12-year-old, you realize that he is John Ritter as a mathematics teacher. And I will die on that hill, right? The physical comedy that man brought into teaching math is absolutely unbelievable. And whether that was Squeaky shoes, or Excalibur his ruler, or Droopy butts to teach you how to balance equations, or slapping erasers together and making chalk dust, because we don't do whiteboard markers, chalk dust all over the place, right? That was every day. Mike would never have survived in the classroom today. One of his favorite examples for every algebra problem started with Mike's nuts, right? And how he was going to sell this fictional business, and everything was always about Mike's nuts, which was hilarious, right? It was hilarious then, it's hilarious now. But Mike, in a lot of ways, was the first person who made me okay with the fact that math is beautiful and it's okay to geek out about that stuff. He was so smart and he was so funny, and he made it so easy to show up in middle school in 7th and 8th grade and be really excited to go to algebra class, right? I can remember a lot of folks then, and I'm sure a lot of folks now talk about, well, when are you going to ever use algebra? I use algebra every day of my life. Mike, as a 12-year-old, provided me with building blocks that made my career, gave me a job that pays the mortgage, that pays my daughter's tuition, right? So he got me off on a great start, and we laughed a hell of a lot doing it. And so I'm very, very, very grateful for that experience. You know, Mike and I, we didn't ever get the chance to really be friends, but I think we would have gotten along very, very well. I think we have the same sense of humor, and I certainly appreciated his ability to take hard problems and turn them into some things that were fun and accessible, and it made a huge impact in my life, and I'm grateful for that opportunity. The going joke today in my house, because he made such an impression on me as a 12-year-old, and from my parents' perspective, from a kid who you couldn't really make much of an impression on, is that the pecking order growing up was God, Jesus Christ, and Mike Savee. And I'm not entirely sure that a whole lot has changed. So I'm grateful for the opportunity. For Mike's family and for Mike's kids, I've seen some of you. Actually, I know at least one of you back in the early 90s when we would do dial-up modems or whatever. We would talk on bulletin board systems, and we're surprised to find out that your dad was my teacher. Mike is a legend, and now as a teacher, as a professor, you know, it's interesting how 30 years later I drawn him for inspiration. I remember being a brand new professor and being told, here's the thing that you need to know about teaching. 70% of it is yourself, and 30% of it is a character. That was easy. I'm Mike Savee, right? What would Mike do? So every day I'm in the classroom and I'm trying to figure out how to reach students, it usually goes back to Mike. I don't know if there's such a thing as immortality, but I think Mike must be pretty damn close. And I think for anyone that walked into this classroom, we're really lucky for that. And actually, for a lot of you from Mayfair, John, Ellen, Terry, whatever, I think that's true. You know, I hope that you know the impact that you have made on the students that have walked into your classroom, not just teaching them things like chemistry or English or whatever, but actually how to be pretty damn good, decent human beings. And so it makes a huge difference. There's a lot of things, I guess, we could go back and do different, a lot of us would do, but I am sure happy that I walked into Mike's class as a 12-year-old and wouldn't change that for anything. So anyway, to Mike, he's great. He will never be forgotten. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah.